And so what I'm doing, you know, so then the mission is create sustainable culture, and for me it's about well, it's a lot about education. Is obviously, as we're talking about with the worldview,
right.
But it's about your place, really. You know, Goethe says if everyone swept their front porch, the whole world would be clean, or you know, paraphrase.
Yeah.
And so I'm working now to try to get my community to be as sustainable as it can be, and of course that begins with the self,
right.
and you know, works out from there. But it's really great to live in San Francisco. I live in, you know, my particular community that I'm talking about, it's called the Lower Haight. It's also Divisadero Corridor. It used to be called the Western Addition. We one of the things we need to do is come up with an identity.
Right.
But the identity that I really recognize is around this bike path that we use called the Wiggle.
The Wiggle?
Yeah, the Wiggle. And it really allows you to avoid some hills. It's actually an old creek bed. The water that came down from Twin Peaks, there was a pond at the base of the Panhandle, then it kind of wound through the Panhandle and sort of went down Scott to Haight, and then took a right on Pierce. Left on,
this is all concrete in there, no?
Well, now it's concrete, but before it was, you know, the natural history of San Francisco. And so left on Waller, right on Steiner, left on DuBose, and then you would go down Church, and so there, the creek went down Church, and there was another pond or reservoir right there where Safeway is now. And so, you know, it would go down Church, down in the Mission, and down in Mission Dolores, and over there. And so it's already got this, you know, really sacred history with the sort of the life force for thousands and thousands of years for these people. And actually the Ohlone people had a village right there where the Safeway is. Did I just say that? I don't know. But there's a reservoir, but then they had their village there, and they had one in Presidio as well. It's kind of a seasonal thing. And so that's the Wiggle, and one of the projects we're working on to really kind of revere this space and revalorize it as sacred space is we're creating a gateway to the Wiggle. So it's actually not on down Churches. If you went out DuBose, behind Safeway, there's an alleyway, DuBose alleyway, bikeway, and there's that bike mural there. And on the east end, there's a recycling center, and we're going to create a garden. Basically, it's going to be an arbor that'll be this garden that the bikers will ride through, and that's going to really create this explicit boundary crossing in this community. And so other things we're going to be doing, of course, one of the main things is our businesses in our neighborhood. So what we're going to do is do sustainability consulting with them, and then build the market around the businesses that really do make the changes. And this way we can really make those businesses prosper, and you know, the others will change and go out of business. And then we're also, of course, doing community education is huge. So classes on, you know, composting, gardening, how to sort your trash, you know, what's seasonal food, what's nutrition and cooking, and
I think a lot of people would if they just knew like which one goes in which bin. I don't know. I'm not. Throw it in that one. I'm out of here. And then you're gonna get a fine now. What is this? Was at certain places if you're not putting in the right. So I mean, you know, if you ever want to make just a quick video or two, I think you'd have a lot of people, because I think it sounds like you have a lot of green tips or a lot of post-green tips, or whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it, it seems to be sustainability tips.
Well, you know, the real truth is that I don't have the tips. I need to learn what goes in what bin. But I think a lot of people are in that position, and there are people that know, and it's really about just creating community. And so the slogan that I used for what I think will really help us make this happen, because of course there's going to be a whole online presence talking about making videos and so on. And so of course in the 60s they had turn on, tune in, drop out, Timothy Leary's sacred words, and that was really what you know got that thing going, and those people are going to be our elders through this process. So I think we can kind of honor them and echo their words, and I think our words can be sign on, root in, branch out.
Very good.
And
combination of the internet and organic. metaphors there. I like it.
And if we do that, if we sign on, basically decide that we want to make this change, and then of course get connected digitally and join the mailing list or whatever. Root in, create community, learn, grow, sort of link up with other people, create that power, and raise each other up, and then of course branch out, spread the movement.
Right.
And if we do that, they can't stop us. We'll be so organized.
Yeah, it comes from the bottom up. I mean, authority is kind of skewed today. We think it's all at the top.
Yeah.
And they think they have the power too, but really it's all from the bottom. The people create the revolution.
Master-slave dialectic. The master depends on the slave to be the master. The slave doesn't have any dependence.
Then this image of like concrete, and in these cracks there's like little shoots of grass blades coming up. So very organic. In the the cold, stern, rigid. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, but anything else you want to say? You want to wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit more about what we're doing. Actually,
sure. Yeah.
There's going to be local food production is obviously a really big key. Yeah. We want to be growing food all over the city, so we're going to be networking backyards basically, and getting spaces for gardens, and maybe even doing rooftop gardens, although the particular architecture might not make it the best fit.
Sure.
But it's really all about creating local food production and then keeping that within the community. I have a friend who just started basically a food delivery business where she's getting all these local ingredients and making hummus and pesto, and so if we basically just cycle it all in the community, that's going to be really a linchpin issue.
Yeah.
I think I heard during World War II, the Bay Area generally produced more, I forget the percentage, like 70% of its food, which was, for an urban developed area to do that.
Wow.
That's pretty astonishing.
Well, that reminds me of another fact about the site of Safeway. Safeway was the site of the first farmers market in San Francisco in 1942, August 1942, when they did gas rationing. And the farmers just sort of spontaneously came in and got a standing ovation when they came in from the boys at the Mint up there. And by the third day, I believe the number is 60,000 people came to the farmers market. And so it's just, it just shows how quickly things can change and how they've always changed in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And there's that.
You think we're at one of those points where if something like this is going to happen, it's going to be maybe categorically different, but it was a long time coming. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm sort of part of one of the dreams, and sort of speaks to that, is that I think in 20 years, I think one of the top 10 things you do when you come to San Francisco is ride the Wiggle. Ride the Wiggle. It's gonna go up there with Haight Ashbury, North Beach, Castro. It's gonna be another spot.
And hopefully in 20 years, the way that the city itself has been sort of redesigned to be foster bicycle riding rather than automobile riding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Van has no bike lane. I mean, Mission has a bike lane. It's so much of a pleasant experience riding down the Mission. Around the Mission.
Yeah, the city is accommodating you as a biker rather than you as a car driver.
Yeah.
That's
this guy who organized the mural, the bike mural that's back there, Joel Pomerantz. His vision is to have the Wiggle be without cars, and it's difficult because it's a pretty major thoroughfare with fell and oak there. I don't know how we would do it, but I think it's a beautiful vision for sure.
Excuse me, it was Market. Market's the one with the bike path.
Yeah.
Mission doesn't have a bike path. Switch them around.
Yeah.
Market's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the city should start to accommodate bikers.
Well, it's all about us getting organized.
Yeah.
And thankfully the Bicycle Coalition is really a great organization, and it already has a lot of power, but the
I
rest
was
of us
hit twice last Saturday, seriously, no joke.
Yeah.
Because Van Ness doesn't have the bike path, and you can legally get a ticket if you're riding on the sidewalk. They expect you to be in the car lanes when the cars are honking at you, telling you to get over, and there's crowded streets, so it's just, I think, if we can make it more accountable to...
More people rode bikes, the city's economy would benefit because there's less money to spend on gas.
More money to spend on entertainment and art.
Yeah.
All these things. You could be funneling, you could have extra money to pay your artist that's struggling, online, or that down the street. That's just,
And it just slows the whole pace of life down a bit, which I think the sort of industrial worldview makes us think that time is the most valuable thing we own.
Yeah.
As if we own it somehow.
Right.
When really leisure is what gives rise to the most creative and sustainable societies.
Yeah. Well, I think we're right there. It's happening. It's happening right now.
Right.
And 5 years from now, you know, we're going to be in a different place in San Francisco at least.
Cool.
And then I do, again, the faith that it is coming to something, you know, beyond us.
Cue George Michael music.
Cool.
All right.
Well, yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks guys. This was great.
Yeah, good conversation. So,
Adios, folks. Bitches.